Hello, everybody. I am Miisa Helenius, a mind coach, and I have Russell Davies as my mentor and guest today. And we are talking about beyond fear of failure and fear of judgment. This is our topic. And why I wanted to talk about this was because I have had some interesting conversations with people who I know, and in this time during the COVID epidemic, lots of things are happening to people at their work. Like both of these people that I just been speaking to had been made redundant, as I actually was also about a year ago. And of course there is a lot of thinking about the next steps and what to do, and am I going to succeed in things, and kind of both in both of these conversations we had the people were saying that yeah, what I actually would like to do is this, but now I have to do this since something. And that brought me this topic and why I wanted to talk to you, Russell. Maybe you should introduce yourself first, and then let's dive to this. What does this bring to your mind?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I love talking about this kind of subject, and as I look back at my life, and it wasn't until in my mid-30s I realized how much I lived my life in fear. I wasn't really consciously aware of it. And it was in the middle of an infertility journey. My wife and I had 10 years of infertility. 8 years in, we hit the lowest point in our journey because my wife had fertility problems. We were focusing on her. And then after all those were clear and she got full health, and there's no reason why we couldn't have children naturally, so we're told. And we found out I had a problem. And it's like, it felt like running a marathon and getting to the end. We told, oh no, you haven't finished. You've got to do it all over again. But this time it's going to be harder. And it's almost hit kind of rock bottom psychologically, because I hadn't realized how much I'd linked my happiness to having children. I'll be happy when. I hadn't realized all my life I've been living, I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when my mum's happy. I'll be happy when I've got good exam results. And the next thing was having a baby, and it like that wasn't happening. And it threw up a lot of kind of stuff for me, and realizing how I had to get honest with myself and realized I wasn't truly content in life. I think I was living a pleasurable life, had all the good things in life. I thought I needed to be happy, the good job, the good career, the house, the wife, the car, all that kind of stuff. But I wasn't truly content. I was always waiting for the next thing that's going to help me get to that sense of deeper contentment. And I thought that'd be having a family would give that. And I guess it made me question things, including my career. And I was in many ways quite happy in the career, very successful at it. But all I could say, it wasn't me. It just wasn't me. But I had no idea what I really wanted to do. But I was comfortable enough there to stay there, but not uncomfortable enough to do something about it in a way. But so to force myself to go on a journey to find something more me. I just imagine myself on my deathbed regretting not trying that and staying in this feeling of comfort. So I resigned. I gave them 6 months notice because I wanted 6 months to find something that's more me. But I needed to force myself to go on that journey. I know some people are scared of being made redundant. I went through 2 rounds of voluntary redundancy, put my hand up to go because I wanted to go, and they didn't let me go. So eventually I just resigned. And in that 6 months, I still didn't know what I wanted to do. I never thought I'd get to the place of walking out that door. By that point, my wife was pregnant. So walking out that door for my job with no idea what to do next. And my wife was pregnant. And I can still have this vivid image now of leaving, walking out that door, handing my past back. I've been there 17 years, all my working life. And I hadn't realized how much my security was tied up into that job. how my identity was tied up into that job. And I felt scared and naked walking away and didn't expect to feel that. And it was far more scary than I thought. And it's interesting when I resigned and people said, oh, so what are you going to do? Because a lot of people leave that kind of job to go to a bigger, better job somewhere else to further their career. And there's me saying, I don't know, just to find something more me. And it was amazing how many people said, oh, I wish I could do that. Almost they felt trapped in this role, in this job. For whatever reason, they felt it wasn't quite them, but didn't feel able to break that cycle. And I didn't tell them this. My immediate thought was, why don't you? And I'm no different. I've got no superpower. I haven't got millions of pounds or even lots of money in the bank to fall upon. I still got bills, got a family on the way. But I guess I got to that tipping point of realizing something in me, my soul, my heart's desire got stronger than my fear. That I just had to act on it and know that, okay, worst case is I go back and get a similar job somewhere else. But it was that deathbed and actually thinking, oh, I can't imagine being on my deathbed, and I don't want to be on my deathbed and have that regret of not finding something more me. And thankfully, my wife was very supportive. And we had some savings to fall upon for a couple of months. But it was the biggest, scariest thing I've ever done. And it's interesting, some of my friends say, oh, you're really brave back then. And in my life now, they think, so one or two friends really said, oh, you're really brave. I don't feel brave, to be honest. I guess I get more comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. I guess I have less thinking about it. I guess having go through that experience has really been helpful to realize, oh my God, it is okay. I have survived and I am here doing something I love now compared to back then. Okay, it wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't from my heart's desire. I think I wanted to get up and wake up and get paid for being me. And I think I've found that. It's been a bumpy journey along the way. It hasn't been all kind of roses and walked out and suddenly all fell into place. But I think there's that determination to hold on to that. Part of me just wanted to wake up and get paid for being me. And one of my mentors once said, you've got a choice each day to either live in fear or live in love and truth. And I think that helped me realize how much I live in my fearful thinking. And it wasn't going to go away. That was it. It wasn't going to go away. But there was a choice about whether I continue to listen to it or not and change my relationship with it. So I think that's why I learned. That's why I surprise people say, you're very brave. I think, well, I still have that fearful thinking. It's not as if I feel fearless, but I guess it's helped me change my relationship with fear. And that's why I think I love this subject about fear, because I think a lot of people are waiting to feel confident before they do something. I'm actually realizing, I think for me, confidence is a feeling you get having done something. It's not a prerequisite for doing anything. And I think it's about changing our relationship with fear. And again, one of my other mentors reminded me about the word courage. I think courage is a very undervalued quality nowadays. We think we need to feel confident, but actually no, sometimes you still have the fear, but it's having the courage to act despite the fear. Yeah, so it's a long answer, but that's kind of explains why I love this subject.
I like that, and that's how it is actually, isn't it? That we still do have those thoughts. They don't go anywhere. It's not like you jump and then suddenly they vanish. They don't. Yeah, like I was telling you before we started about my fears with my business, and I have been an entrepreneur previously in my life, and I have jumped and of course had all these fears during that time, and then now as I started my second round of being an entrepreneur, it was the same fear was there again. Of course, I knew a lot, so that it kind of was easier, and I already had some customers, which made it also easier, and some offerings and so on. But still, there are always a lot of thought in people's head, and as we have been taught in the 3 principles, is that the thought comes and goes, and it's the relationship rather to the thought that do you give it too much power or not. And yeah, I loved what you just explained there, because that's how it is. And the funny thing, I guess, with like people who are staying where they are not, they don't want to stay, they still have thoughts like, I'm not satisfied with my life kind of thoughts, my life is dull, I am inspired, or something like that. So you kind of choose what kind of feelings and thoughts you want to have. Is it like, I want to be a bit afraid but laugh a bit too at the same moment? Or do I choose to be, in a place where I'm not content and satisfied with my life?
Yeah, you're right. It reminds me, it has been it can be a bumpy journey. I've never, money comes to mind. When money comes to mind as we're talking, I think a lot of people have a fear around money, and I very much had that. And it was interesting how, growing up, my parents weren't particularly rich, kind of quite middle class. We had enough. I went to university. I was sponsored by a company to go to university, so I had quite a lot of money. University was unusual. I wasn't a typical poor student. I went straight into a quite good, very good job. So I've never had many money worries. It's always been enough, more than enough, really, in my corporate career. And suddenly walking out, leaving, and I walked into a consultancy job for a while, so the money was fine. But then we're actually doing what I really love, which is this kind of coaching and therapy, and starting from scratch. It was a whole different ballgame. And at one point, we found ourselves having to work to live with family. I couldn't even afford to pay mortgage or rent for my family, to live with family for a while, as I got this new business up and running, and that triggered a lot of money fears for me. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I'll be okay when I get this kind of money in the bank, then I can relax. I've got this amount of money in the bank. And I got there and I thought, I've got there. Then I really caught myself, it wasn't long after that, I caught myself thinking, oh, I don't want to go below that. Almost this kind of fear, almost the level goes up and up and up. I don't go below, I need to get to here now because I don't go below that. And it's funny how the kind of the joy and the relief of getting there soon dissipates to the fear of going below there. And it's like, it made me realize this kind of this merry-go-round, it ties into knots, our thinking ties into knots, and you can't just be free from that. There's no magic pill to not have any insecure thoughts. But it's like you're saying, actually, do we live in fear, or do we actually live in a place where actually we're aware of it? We do this, it's like doing a dance with it. We can be aware of it, we don't have to give it the power, we know where it's come from, it's thought. And fear is imagination. Fear is the misuse of imagination. Fear is all future thinking, and nothing can predict the future, and it stops us being alive and present to who we are in this moment. And everything we need to thrive is in this moment. As a human being, our human operating system is designed for reality, and the fear takes us into our imagined la-la land in our head. And the problem is, it's so plausible, it's so realistic, but it's still fantasy because it's future thinking, it's imagination. And almost I can bring that, as you're saying, bring that humor to it, and almost not laugh at it, but just allow myself to smile at my own relationship with fear, rather than take fear so seriously. I used to think fear was something to listen to. It's different if you're walking across and close to an edge. The fear is there to keep you safe. That's physical danger. But what most of us experience is that psychological fear, which is imagination. So like you're saying, that there's a lightness I think I have in my relationship with fear that beforehand I took it so seriously.
Yeah, and it's like I had another conversation yesterday, which was about an immigrant in Sweden, and he had received from the government a letter that he needs to leave, and of course that kind of situation is terrible. He's a young man, 17 years old, and lives in a constant fear. And the lady who I was talking to told that he's like gray, and he's so afraid of this, and asked for help from me to, what to do with the thoughts. And of course it's clear that in that kind of situation you have a lot of fear, but still, like she said, that she had been telling her that we are in this car driving at the moment, that it's not happening now. And I tried to tell her that if you can help the boy with trying to explain that we only have actually this moment right here, and all of the things that you are thinking that are in the future actually don't exist, because we never know what's going to happen. And if you go back in your life and you think about the point in life when you were dreaming or setting a goal of something, and when you went forward, it never happened like you were thinking. So there is actually nothing around this moment. The things that we have in our head about the past are just thought. And it's the same with the future. And if you think that the moment comes when I need to leave and it's going to be terrible, and this is how it's going to happen, you're going to miss every other opportunity that there is. And that's how it is, I guess, with these people too, who are thinking about, I need to get the same kind of job in order to, get my, what is it called when we get old?
The pension.
Pension, right. Yeah. So in order to get my pension, that my life is going to be good. But what's going to happen here is that we are missing all the beautiful opportunities that might come in our way to the pension if we decide that I'm going to have to take this job, even if I don't want to take it.
That is so true. I mean, it really struck me. I was quite shocked to I guess found it hard to admit that having had 10 years of infertility and, it's such a struggle to have this family now, against all odds, we got pregnant naturally, an amazing little boy, and he was supposed to be about 3, and I suddenly realized we're having tea or something, but I wasn't present. I was in my head worrying about something. I was thinking, isn't it ironic that this is the one thing I always thought made me happy, the one thing I wanted so much in my life, I'm not even savoring it, not being present to actually enjoy it and experience it. I'm somewhere else in my head worrying about something. And that was a really wake-up call to me, how much, as you're saying, I wasn't living life in this moment. I wasn't actually being in life. I was living this future in my head, which, as I say, is all made up anyway. And as they say, life is not the destination, it's the journey. It's a very kind of glib statement, but it is true in a way. It is true in a way. It is true. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? And I can't constantly realize how I live for tomorrow. Even time my wife and thinking, well, we could have some quality time, a date night tonight, but we've got tomorrow, and we'll say tomorrow never comes. And it made me realize I wasn't really creating the life I want in this moment, saving life and seeing there's all sorts of things that come with that. The more I'm present in life, there's more gratitude, there's more, I say, security, because I realize I do have everything I need in this moment, even money. I have more enough money in this moment, and just help me realize that everything I was trying to create in my future thinking, I'll be okay when, it's actually all here now. It's not about the amount of money in the bank, it's the feeling of security I thought I'd get from it. And that feeling of security is here in this moment. It's not about the contentment or happiness, I think the joy I get from relaxing. No, that joy and happiness is when you're in this moment. And it was quite hard for me to realize, because I've been so brought up to think outside in, I'll be okay if, I'll be okay when. It was really quite an alien concept for me to realize actually all those things you think you want, or the feelings you think you'll get from those things, they are alive in you in this moment. We are complete. Like a little toddler, just don't need for anything. And they just enjoy and savor the moment and delight in the moment, what the moment brings. Because there's no expectations of it, no judgments of how it should be, it just is what it is. And there's a completeness within that allows them to explore that place, even the unknownness of life. A toddler everything's unknown, it's all new. But they explore that unknownness from a place of wonder because they have this sense of innate well-being within them. I think often as adults, of so many adults and my clients have the fear of the unknown because we think they need a certain outcome to be okay on the inside. And the more we know we are complete on the inside, it's how we were born, I think we become more comfortable with the unknown rather than fearful of the unknown.
Yeah, that's true. And when you are in that state, you are probably also more creative. If it were so that you wouldn't have money, kind of you would have the capability to figure it out in that state of mind. If you are in the worrying state of mind, you're paralyzed. You can't do anything. But if you are in the creative state of mind, you figure things out. You go and find the money.
Yeah. No, totally agree. Once someone said, well, if you're in a strange town and you've got, £50 in your pocket, what would you do to double the money? You'll find something you can create, you can have ideas to create more money. And you're right, when we're in this moment, we have that creativity, that flow, that wisdom, that inspiration when we're alive in this moment, which is why I think, we might be scared of losing our job, but if it happens, it may not be what we choose, it may not be pleasant, but it's never as bad as we imagine. Because when we're in it, we have the resources to deal with it. When we imagine it, with that little us in our imagination is not the fully resourced us because we're designed to be in reality. Our resources show up in reality. So you're right. I think the more we're alive in this moment, we have the creativity, the insight, the inspiration to deal with whatever is showing up in our life.
Yeah. I actually, something came to my mind. I also had a conversation where when I shared that I was made redundant, there was 3 people who said the same, and they said it was the best thing that ever happened to me. So I guess the universe takes care sometimes if you're not kind of yourself ready, but you actually are, then the universe pushes you.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. In my life, the journey of this journey of relationship with fear was recognizing that my relationship with the universe, life, God, whatever you want to call the energy behind life. I guess I didn't truly believe it was loving and kind and got my back. And I guess I thought it was down to me, 100% down to me. And if things happen which I judge as unfair, I felt like a victim. I felt these things happened to me, it wasn't fair. What if actually there's this energy behind life that is loving and kind and actually sees the bigger picture we don't, and what things happen for us rather than to us? And that was really quite hard to get my head around. And I'm not saying I'm always perfect and have that. Sometimes I do get frustrated and think things should be different, but more often than not, I can see and trust, okay, there's a greater universe that has a greater wisdom or understanding the bigger picture than me. What if there's a gift in here somewhere? What if I realize I can deal with this more than I imagine, and it can take me somewhere better than I imagine, or get me to where I want to be quicker than in an unexpected route? And I realized how my relationship with this energy behind life beforehand, I guess to be fair, was like my mum. My mum was very strict. She suffered from anxiety, very high expectations. And don't get me wrong, everything she did was motivated by love, but she had a lot of her insecure and fearful thinking that maybe contaminated the way she demonstrated that, or the way I experienced it through my kind of thinking. And I guess growing up, it felt like love felt quite conditional. If I did the right thing, I felt more loved because she was happy. I guess I felt the universe was the same. It felt quite conditional. I thought it was conditional. And I thought I was doing a really good job. I thought I was a really good boy and doing the right things. And these things weren't happening. I get very resentful and anger towards it. And again, one of my friends at one point said to me, so you think you know better than God? And it's really kind of like, well, yeah, I actually think sometimes I do. I don't trust this energy to know more than me.
That's a really deep thought. So whatever happens, it happens for a reason. or something like that.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
I think so. Even I wouldn't wish a 10-year fertility journey on anyone, but to be honest, I am so thankful I met myself in the midst of that 8 years in, when I had this kind of bit of a, not a breakdown, but just kind of questioning, okay, where does happiness come from? And this whole kind of brutally honest review of my life and how I was feeling about life. And I truly believe that as a result of that, we became pregnant as a result of that. Because psychologically, I fell into a much more happier place of flow, living what I call more inside out. I no longer became that people pleaser. I was more content in myself. And my body changed. And my fertility improved dramatically without me doing anything about it. So I did believe in the mind, the body are one system. So not only do I believe I almost not had to go through that, but that was a gift to go through that. Not just it impacted our chances of having our son, but also I believe I'm a better father as a result. So I'm much more content, not perfect by any means. Can still be very grumpy, but I don't think I would. I think before I would unconsciously brought a lot of stuff from my childhood and my mum into my parenting, but now I have a different relationship with thoughts and feelings. I think it means I have a different experience, and he has a different experience of me as a parent and my life as a whole. I think I'm a much more happier person. So I can look back at that, the pain of that journey, yes, and I can really see the gifts in it. And because hindsight's a wonderful thing, but it has helped me see that actually the way I see it is my thinking. There's other ways of seeing this. And I have this tunnel vision, and because it's my thinking, it's very realistic, it's very plausible. I think it's reality, I think it's truth. I judge it, I'm very wise. I can give all the evidence of why this is true, the way I see something. And now I think I'm able to hold that perspective lighter, have a lighter, and see through it more, and have a different perspective on situations, and open up to different possibilities of seeing things, including fear. Realizing this is all of it is fear that held my perspective on situations and life quite tightly. Yeah, and I think it's enabled me to be more okay of not knowing. I think this really wanted me to know, for security and safety, to stop feeling fear. But yeah, I think that, more comfortable with not knowing and being, and have more curiosity.
Yeah, and now you are helping your customers with the same insights.
Yeah, well, I do a lot of work in fertility, and again, it's one of those things that I didn't plan to specialize or do a lot of work in that area, but the gynecologists we work with for so many years started referring patients to me, and I suddenly realized, I understand this journey, and it's a lovely way to give back to a community we're part of for so long. And hopefully, I do believe, we both believe, if we knew then what we know now, it wouldn't have been a 10-year journey. Because we can really see how much our mind and our fear played a role in that journey. So I like to think I can help people fast track their journey and get the true gifts from it as well. So realize it's not just about having a baby, and help them really see the gift for them in their life as a whole. I was talking to one of my mentors. He had his vision. He says that, we come into the world we call inside out. We don't come into the world with all these fears. So we come into the world what we call living more inside out, knowing we're okay. And so earlier about the toddler. We come into a world that thinks it works outside in, that can be quite fear driven. And he dreams of a world where inside out babies come into an inside out world, so they stay more inside out. And we suddenly realized we have almost the same kind of vision away. Because for me, when we work with a couple on fertility, it's about creating that inside out container for the baby to come into. And I know they're more likely that they're inside out, then it's more likely to happen. But it also means the baby's coming to more an inside out container. So hopefully they stay more inside out. And I never thought of it that way, but actually, we have a similar kind of vision. We're actually creating that container of peace and well-being, and that the baby's coming into, rather than often people think they're going to get that from having a baby.
Yeah, I love that, because many of us live to our 50s or 60s until we realize this.
Yeah, no,
And
totally.
it's like, oh, why do we have to do this to ourselves?
That's so true.
Yeah, so
true.
I love that. I love that thought. Maybe we should close this conversation to that lovely thought of the inside out container. That's beautiful. Thank you, Russell.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Enjoyed the
much.
conversation.